Jai Sri Krishna. We are about to begin with the recitals for this evening. We will start with a preliminary purificatory mantras. Sprinkle water. Om apavitraha pavitro va sarvavasthangato piva yasmaret pundare kaksham savayabhyantara shuchi. Sip water once for each mantra. Om Keshavaya Namaha. Om Narayanaya Namaha. Om Madhavaya Namaha. Rinse your hands. Om Rishikeshaya Namaha. Om Govindaya Namaha. Om Madhusudhanaya Namaha. Put on your paiti. Om Pavitresto Vaishnavyo Saviturva Prasva Utpanamya Chitrena Pavitrena Surya Rashmabhi Tasyate Pavitrapate Pavitraputasya Yatta Kamaha Pune Tachakeyam. Apply a chandan knot onto your forehead. Om Chandanam Bandhate Nityam Pavitram Papanashanam Apadam Harite Nityam Lakshmi Vasatu Sarvada. Light your lamp. Om Bodhipatum Brahma Rupa Andhakara Nivaraka Mamayan Pratam Puja Grihastejo Pravardhaya. Om Deepaya Namaha. Sprinkle water on the baby. Om Pridvitvayadrita Loka Devitvam Vishnu Nadrita. Om Cha Dharyamam Devi Pavitram Kuru Chasanam. Put your palms together. If you have flowers, you may hold some flowers in your hand. We're going to read the Swasti Vachan. Om Swasti na Indro Vridhashravah Swasti na Pusha Vishwavedah Swasti na Starikshur Arishthanemihi Swasti no Brihaspatirdadhatu Om Payah Pritivyam Payoshadhishu Payodivyantarikshhe Payodhah Payaswati Pradisha Santu Mahayam. Om Vishnoraratmasi Vishnu Shnaptristho Vishnu Surasi Vishnu Dhruvasi Vaishnavamasi Vishnavetva Om Agnir Devata Vato Devata Suryo Devata Chandrama Devata Vasuvo Devata Rudra Devata Ditya Devata Maruto Devata Vishwe Deva Devata Brihaspatir Devatendro Devata Varuno Devata Om Dyahu Shantirantariksha Shanti Prithvi Shantir Apah Shantir Oshadhayah Shanti Vanaspatayah Shantir Vishwadevaha Shantir Brahma Shanti Sarvagam Shanti Shantireva Shanti Sama Shantirevi Om Vishwani Deva Savitar Duritani Parasuva Yadbhadran Tanna Asuva Sushantir Bhavatu. You may place your flowers down. We are now going to do invocation mantras for Ganesh Gauri, Kalash and Navagraha. Again, you may hold some flowers in your hand. Om Gananantva Ganapati Gung Havamahe Priyanantva Priyapati Gung Havamahe Nidhinantva Nidhipati Gung Havamahe Vasamama Ahamajani Garbhadamatva Majase Garbhadhamma Om Bhurvasva Ganapataye Namo Mambe Ambike Balikena Maniti Kaschana Sasasyasvaka Shubhatrikam Kampi Lavasnim Om Bhurvasva Ambikaye Namaha Om Tadvayami Brahmana Vandam Anas Shastri Yajmanu Havirabhi Ahedamanu Varna Buddhirashugam Samana Ayuh Pramoshihi Om Brahma Muraristu Prantakari Bhanu Shashi Bhumi Soto Budasya Guruscha Shukra Shani Rahu Ketava Sarve Graha Shanti Kara Bhavantu. You may place your offerings on the bedi. We are going to read invocation mantras for Lakshmi Narayan and Radha Krishna. Om Lakshmi Kshira Samudra Raja Tanayam Sri Rangadhameshwarim Tasi Bhuta Samasta Deva Vanitam Loke Kadipankuram Rivan Manda Kataksha Labda Viva Brahmendra Gangadharam Tam Lokya Kutumbanim Sarasajam Vande Mukunda Priyam Om Vishnu Ranatamasi Vishnu Shnaptristo Vishnu Surasi Vishnu Dhruvasi Vaishnavamasi Vishnavetva Om Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Maruta Stunavanti Divyastave वेदे साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदेर्गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थित तद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनो यस्यान्तं न विदुः सुरासुरगणो देवाय तस्मै नमः। ॐ वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं मूकं करोति वाचनं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम्। So you may place those offerings down. We are now going to begin with the Bhagavad Gita invocation mantras. You may follow on your screen. Om, Om, Om. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Para Brahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. ध्यानमूलं गुरोर्मूलोपदं मन्त्रमूलं गुरोर्वाक्यं मोक्षमूलं गुरो कृपा। कस्तूरीतिलकं करे कङ्कणम् सर्वाङ्गे हरिचन्दनं सुललितम् कण्ठे च मुक्तावली गोपस्त्रीपरिवेष्टितो विजयते गोपालचूडामणि पुल्लेन्दीवरकान्तिमीन्दुवदनम् वर्हावतं सप्रियम् श्रीवत्साङ्कमुदारकोस्तुभधरम् पीताम्बरं सुन्दरम् गोपीनां नयनोत्पलार्चिततनुम् गोपसङ्घावृतम् गोविन्दं कलवेणुवादनपरम् दिव्याङ्गभूतं भजे। ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वाम् अनुसन्दतामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम् नमोऽस्तु ते व्यासविशालबुद्धे पुल्लारविन्दायतपत्रनेत्र येन त्वया भारततैलपूर्णः प्रज्वलितो ज्ञानमयः प्रदीपः मूकं करोति वाचालं माफ कीजिए नमस्तेस्तु ते नमोऽस्तु ते व्यासविशालबुद्धे कुलारविन्दायत्पत्रनेत्र येन त्वया भारततैलपूर्णः प्रज्वलितो ज्ञानमयः प्रदीपः प्रपन्नपारिजाताय लोकवैत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। सर्वोपनिषदो गावो दोग्धा गोपालनन्दनः पार्थो वत्सः सुधीर्भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत्। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कञ्चचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। भीष्मद्रोणतटा जयद्रथजला गान्धारनीलोत्पला शल्यग्राहवती शल्यग्राहवती कृपेण वहनी कर्णेन वेलाकुला अश्वत्थामा विकर्णघोरमकरा दुर्योधनवर्तिनी सोत्तीर्णा खलु पाण्डवैरर्णति कैवर्तकः केशवः पाराशर्यवचः सरोजममलं गीतार्थगन्धोत्कटं नानाख्यानककेसरं हरिकथा सम्बोधनाबोधितं लोके सज्जन शतपदैरहरः पेपीयमानं मुदा भूयाद् भरतपङ्कज कलिमल प्रध्वंसीनः श्रेयसे मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम्। यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुवन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैर्वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैर्गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थितद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनो यस्यान्तं न विदुः सुरासुरगण देवाय तस्मै नमः। गीतासु गीता कर्तव्या किमन्ये शास्त्रसङ्ग्रहै या स्वयं पद्मनाभस्य मुखपद्माद्विनिसृताः सर्वशास्त्रमयी गीता सर्वदेवमयो हरिः सर्वतीर्थमयी गङ्गा सर्ववेदमयो मनुः गीता गङ्गा च गायत्री गोविन्दे तीर्धि स्थिते चतुर्गकार संयुक्ते पुनर्जन्म न विद्यते भारतामृत सर्वस्व गीतायामतितस्य च सारम् उद्धृत्य कृष्णेन अर्जुनस्य मुखे हुतम्. Now we will do Gita Arti.
भगवद गीते मया जय भगवद गीते हरिय कमल विहारिणि हरिय कमल विहारिणि सुंदर सुपुनीते ओम जय भगवद गीते जय भगवद गीते मया जय भगवद गीते हरिय कमल विहारिणि हरिय कमल विहारिणि सुंदर सुपुनीते ओम जय भगवद गीते कर्म सुमर्म प्रकाशिनी काम सत्तिहरा मया काम सत्तिहरा तत्व ज्ञान विकाशिनी तत्व ज्ञान विकाशिनी विद्या ब्रह्म परा ओम जय भगवद गीते निश्चल भक्ति विधायिनी निर्मल मलहारी मैया निर्मल मलहारी शरण रहस्य प्रदायिनी शरण रहस्य प्रदायिनी सब विधि सुखकारी। ओम जय भगवद गीते। राग द्वेष विदारिणी कारिणी मोद सदा, मैया कारिणी मोद सदा। भव भयहारिणी तारिणी, भव भयहारिणी तारिणी, परमानंद प्रदा। ओम जय भगवद गीते। आसुर भाव विनाशिनी नाशिनी तमरजनी, मैया नाशिनी तमरजनी। देवी सद्गुणदायिनी, देवी सद्गुणदायिनी, हरि रसिका सजनी। ओम जय भगवद गीते। समता त्याग सिखावनी, हरिमुख की बानी, मैया हरिमुख की बानी। सकल शास्त्र की स्वामिनी, सकल शास्त्र की स्वामी, श्रुतियों की रानी। ओम जय भगवद गीते। दया सुधा बरसावनी, मातु कृपा की जय, मैया मातु कृपा की जय। हरिपद प्रेम दान कर, हरिपद प्रेम ध्यान कर, अपनों कर लीजे। ओम जय भगवद गीते।
Jai Sri Krishna. So, you remember still that on the first day of recitals, we read where Arjun asks Krishna Bhagwan a question. We said it was a timeless question. And the question was, which path is better? Worshipping God in a form as we can see, like for example, Krishna, Ram, or Shiva? Or is it better to meditate on God as the formless, infinite Brahman? And what we saw was that Krishna Bhagwan's answer was beautifully inclusive. He said that both paths lead to the same truth. And he said what matters is not the form, but the depth of love and the focus that we bring. So these two approaches we learned was called Sagun Brahman, God with form and qualities, and Nirgun Brahman, that is God without form, attributes, or limits. And we heard that they are like ice and water. They are different in appearance, but the same in essence. We also heard that Tulsidas reminds us that love can make the formless take the form for the sake of the devotee. Then we read about where Krishna Bhagwan explains that those who fix their minds in him, who have steady faith in him, they become united with him, with God. And it doesn't matter whether somebody is a sannyasi or whether somebody is a school teacher. If we worship with rituals or whether we worship silently, the most important thing is sincerity. And we learned that real devotion is not about labels. It's not about outer appearance. It's about the surrender of the heart. So for those who choose the path of the formless absolute, Krishna Bhagwan told us this is noble, it's good, but it's difficult. It requires self-control, It requires that our minds are even, balanced in all situations. And it also means that we have to have deep compassion for all beings. And that is why the path of personal devotion can be easier and sweeter. And then he reassures Arjun. He says, if you dedicate all the actions to me, if you see God as your highest goal and you love God without distraction, then God will personally rescue you from the ocean of birth and death. And this is not just a promise, it's not some kind of exaggeration, right? Because God's grace is like a lifeboat in this stormy sea of life, and it lifts the devotee up to safety. And then finally, we read last night, or you read also, that in one of the previous evenings, that Krishna Bhagwan calls for a total focus. He says, fix the mind, in other words, your feelings and your impulses, as well as your intellect, your reasoning and your decisions on me. So remember, you would have read on Monday evening, you'd have heard that the mind and intellect both have to be fixed. So the mind may say, I want to eat ice cream for breakfast. The intellect will say that ice cream is tasty, but it's not the best thing to eat for breakfast. So the mind is going with the feelings. The intellect is the reasoning part. And Krishna Bhagwan said both must be fixed. Right? And when both are aligned, then we live in God. And there's never any doubt. That becomes liberation. So this answer is very simple, but it's profound. God can be worshipped in many ways, with or without form. We must choose the path that fills our heart with love. We have to stay steady. We have to control our impulses. We must care for others. And we have to keep the divine at the center of our thoughts and actions. Now, today, from verses 13 right up to 20, today and tomorrow, Krishna Bhagwan is going to enumerate for us the qualities of a bhakta, a devotee of God. We will see how he deems that those possessing these qualities are his true devotees. So let's read verses 13 and 14, and then we will also learn what these qualities of a bhakta are. Adveshta sarvabhutanam मैत्रः करुण एव च निर्ममो निरहङ्कारः समदुःख सुख क्षमी. I'm going to read 13 again. Adveshta sarvabhutanam मैत्रः करुण एव च निर्ममो निरहङ्कारः समदुःख सुख क्षमी. Now let's look at verse 14. सन्तुष्टः सततं योगी यतात्मा दृढनिश्चयः मय्यर्पितमनो बुद्धिर्यो मद्भक्तः स मे प्रियः. Again. सन्तुष्टः सततं योगी यतात्मा दृढनिश्चयः मय्यर्पितः मनो बुद्धिर्मद्भक्तः स मे प्रियः. So, in the first 13th verse, Krishna Bhagwan uses certain words. Let's look at what those words mean, then we'll put it all together. The word adveshta. Adveshta means free from malice. Sarva Bhutanam means towards all living beings. Maitraha is to be friendly. Karuna means to be compassionate. Nirmamaha, nirmamaha means free from attachment to possession. Nir ahamkaraha, free from egoism. Then sama means equipoised. Dukkha means distress and sukha means happiness. So sama, dukkha, sukha means you must be equipoised when it comes to distress and happiness. And then chami. Chami means forgiving. Then in the 14th verse, he talks about santushtaha. Santushtaha means to be content, satisfied. Satatam, steadily. Yat atma means self-controlled. Dridha nischayah, with a firm resolve. Mani, then he says arpita. Arpita means to be dedicated. Manaha is the mind. Buddhi is intellect. So in verse 13, Krishna Bhagwan is saying, one who has no hatred towards any living being, who is friendly and compassionate, free from possessiveness and pride, and who remains calm in both sorrow and happiness, and who is patient. Then in verse 14, he says, one who is always content, self-disciplined, firm in determination, with mind and understanding, dedicated to me, such a devoted person is dear to me. So, according to these verses, a true devotee is not somebody who is defined by the external rituals that they do alone, not only by the external rituals. There's also a set of uh, very deeply cultivated inner qualities that a person needs to have. And these inner qualities are not optional extras for somebody that is spiritually inclined. It is for everybody. So, according to this verse, then, God's love flows naturally toward the one who lives with these virtues, which he has mentioned in verses 13 and 14. So, what did he talk about? He said, no hatred, meaning that there has to be universal goodwill. See, a person who is a devotee of the Lord, that person does not have any ill will toward any living being. It doesn't mean that I have to agree with everyone's actions, but at least I should not allow any resentment to poison my heart. So, for example, at work, a colleague might take credit for for an idea that I might have come up with. So, a devotee, instead of responding with vengeance, that person will, trusting that truth will reveal itself in all the time. He doesn't worry. He doesn't react with vengeance. He feels that the truth will reveal itself in time. A person who has no hatred, who practices universal good, they will also treat animals and all of nature with respect. They will not cause any harm where possible because they understand that all life is interconnected. Then Bhagwan says the next quality is friendly and compassionate. Now, friendliness comes when there is a genuine concern for others. And compassion means that we are actively working to to reduce, to ease somebody else's suffering. So a devotee who is friendly and who is compassionate, they will listen, but they will not judge. So, for example, if my friend is going through a divorce, I will listen to my friend. I will offer emotional support rather than trying to give some quick fix solutions. If there's a flood and I'm helping the flood victims, I volunteer to help those flood victims. I do it not because I have a personal connection to anybody, but because I understand that human suffering anyway calls for action. Then Bhagwan talks about letting go of the ego, letting go of possessiveness. So, a devotee is somebody who is free from this mindset of me and mine. It doesn't mean that I must neglect my responsibilities, but it means that I must live without being enslaved by attachments. So, for example, I will share my resources generously without obsessing over the ownership. So, for example, somebody wants to borrow a book that I have. You lend that book, even though you know in your mind that that book may never be returned. At work, for example, if I lose a promotion to someone else, somebody else gets promoted, I must not cling to pride or to status. I must continue to give off my best at work. This is what it means by to let go of ego, to let go of possessiveness. Then a true devotee of the Lord has inner peace in joy and in sorrow. So none of us lead a smooth life. We all have days when there's total sunshine in our lives. There are days when there are storms in our lives. But the true devotee will remain steady in both. That person will celebrate personal achievement without arrogance, and they will also face the setback without allowing themselves to collapse into a despair. So, for example, I may have planned a holiday, but due to illness, my holiday gets cancelled. What I should do is I should use this unexpected time to rest, to read, to deepen my spiritual practice instead of sinking into frustration. Then Bhagwan talks about the qualities of forgiveness and patience. And what we need to understand is that forgiveness is not a weakness. Actually, forgiveness is a way to release the burden of anger. So, when we are under pressure, the greatest strength that you can have is patience. So, if a friend makes a hurtful comment, forgive that friend. We must try to understand that perhaps it was said in a moment of stress, and we must continue the friendship without any resentment. These days, we go out somewhere, we got to follow heavy traffic. Roads are always filled with cars and all kinds of obstacles. We have to wait in long queues sometimes at the hospitals, at clinics, what have you. We have to remain calm in such situations. Patience is very important. We must use that time in silent prayer, in reflection rather than fuming, rather than getting angry. Then Bhagwan talks about contentment and self-discipline. In other words, being satisfied with what we have. We have to regulate our desires and our habits. Every time a new gadget comes out in the market, it doesn't mean that we have to chase after that. Every time there's some new fashion trend, doesn't mean that we have to also embrace that new fashion trend. We must learn to live simply. We must spend our time and energy on meaningful pursuits, on chasing the meaningful things. We must have a daily routine when it comes to prayer. We must have a daily routine of study, of meditation, even when there's a temptation to skip all these things because of some easier distraction in our life. So that contentment and self discipline. Then Bhagwan talks about having a firm determination, having a focused mind. So, on this path of spirituality, which all of us are striving on, we have to learn to have an unshakable conviction in this path, even when something or some circumstance challenges our faith. Right? So, I may have had a very stressful day. It should not stop me from continuing with my morning meditation, because I must realize that discipline will bring me deeper inner peace. Sometimes our friends, they ridicule us for the spiritual practices that we engage in. But we must learn to remain respectful and steadfast. We must not allow peer pressure to pull us away from what is happening. So that's what it means by firm determination and focused mind. So why do these qualities matter? Why is it important? Because all these virtues that we mentioned, that actually that Bhagwan has mentioned in these two verses, that is the bridge that is going to take us to self-realization, or what we call moksha. So these are not decorations that we decorate ourselves with. They're not moral decorations. They are actually intended to transform us as devotees into reflecting on the divine. See, without these qualities that Bhagavan has mentioned here, our devotion may become very hollow. So, with these qualities, when we cultivate these qualities, when we develop these qualities in us, then our life becomes a living prayer. We receive the grace of God, and it clears away any ignorance that might exist. And of course, as I said, it opens up the path to ultimate freedom. Now, in Hinduism, we talk about the four classes, the Varna: Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. Swami Vivekananda once wrote, he said that the person who embodies all these traits that Krishna Bhagwan has been talking about, he says that is a person in the real sense, that is a Brahman. So you ask yourself, who is a Brahman? A Brahman is a person who has all these qualities that Krishna Bhagwan has revealed to us over here. So that person is an enlightened being who uh, is calm and who has inner strength. So, in essence, it's not enough to say, I love God. The proof lies in how we treat others, how we manage our emotions, and how we stand firm both in joy and in sorrow, in adversity. So, these verses that we just read now, verses 13 and 14, are a checklist for the heart. It is a map to becoming someone who is truly dear to God. Acha? Let's go to the next verse, verse 15, and let's see what other gems that Bhagwan Sri Krishna is revealing to us. Yasmano dvijate loko lokano dvijate chayah हर्षामर्षभयोद् वेगैर्मुक्तो यः स च मे प्रियः. Let's read it again. Yasmano dvijate loko Lokano dvijate cha yaha harshamarsa bhayodvegair mukto yaha sacha me priyaha. So, udvijate. Udvijate means to be agitated. Lokaha refers to people. And then harsha means pleasure. Amarsha means pain. Bhaya means fear. Udvegaha means anxiety. So Bhagwan is saying, one who does not disturb or upset others, and who is not disturbed or upset by others, who is free from excitement, anger, fear, and anxiety, such a person is dear to me. So, this passage then, or rather, this verse rather, is describing the qualities of a person who is spiritually close to a higher power, who is living in harmony with himself as well as the world. Now, who is this person? This person is unaffected by the world. So, one, they do not disturb others, nor do they allow others to disturb them. So, it means that don't interfere in the faith and in the work of other people. See, one of the greatest weaknesses of us human beings is we like to, the word in English is we like to poke our nose in other people's business. Somebody is doing puja, we want to talk with them. We want to tell them, no, that's not how you must do puja. Bhagwan is saying, don't disturb others, don't interfere in other people's lives. Similarly, you don't let others disturb you. So, these days on social media, one famous thing that you hear, and people are always saying this. They say, oh, this 2 dates for Krishna Ashtami is so confusing. That's why our young people are converting to Christianity. That's not a devotee because you are allowing others to disturb you. Why are you allowing other people to disturb you? There are 2 dates for Krishna Ashtami, yes. Decide which one you want to do it in and stay firm, as Krishna Bhagavan says, and do your puja on that day. Don't worry about what the rest of the world is doing. Why do I have to do what the rest of the world is doing? So, a true devotee will not allow himself to be disturbed by what thousands of people are saying on social media. You read the explanation about which day is Krishna Ashtami, and what you believe in, you follow that. Doesn't matter what the person next door is doing. So we must be unaffected by the world. We must not get caught up in gossip, in criticism, or other people's moods. So if a colleague speaks harshly, we must respond with patience instead of retaliating. So inner peace is not dependent on whether others approve of them or not. So if someone is making a mistake, correct it gently rather than shaming them. So we have a habit. When you see somebody doing something wrong, you like to tell them in front of everyone that they're doing wrong. That's not the way to do it. We have to be emotionally steady. Still talking about this verse. In other words, we must remain calm in moments of failure, in joy, and in sorrow. We must not let praise inflate our ego, nor should we allow anybody criticizing us to crush our spirit. Right? If the work that I'm doing is recognized, I must feel uh, I must feel grateful, or I must not be arrogant. If the work that I'm doing is being overlooked, then I should just continue to the best that I'm doing without any resentment. When challenges come, whether it is, let's say, it's a financial setback, or maybe there's a family disagreement, we must learn to stay composed and we must look for constructive solutions rather than reacting impulsively. Then Bhagavan talks about being free from extremes. So we must avoid being swept by excitement, anger, fear, anxiety. It doesn't mean that you mustn't feel anything. As human beings, we have to have feelings. But it means that we must not allow the emotions to control the actions that we perform. So if there's a big opportunity that comes up in my life, I must approach it thoughtfully, not recklessly. If there's some danger or if there's some uncertainty that's coming up, I must stay grounded. I must trust that I have the ability to go through this situation without panic. So this this verse is telling us about mental resilience and emotional balance. It's reminding us that when we are not easily shaken by other people's opinions or by unpredictable events that take place in life, when we can face both praise and blame with the same steady heart, then we can say that we are getting closer and closer to a higher purpose of life. So, this steadiness is supposed to inspire us or inspire trust in us. It's supposed to promote harmony. It's supposed to allow us to serve others without being drained by the turbulence that is going on in the world. Now, you may ask the question, how does one cultivate calmness? How do you create emotional balance? For example, every morning or evening, whichever is convenient, take 5 minutes to check in on yourself. Are you feeling calm? Are you feeling anxious? Are you angry? Are you excited? Ask yourself what has triggered these feelings. Understand that your emotional responses help you to recognize the patterns and gain control. Do not react immediately. That's another way in which we can cultivate calmness and emotional balance. If somebody is criticizing you, or if there's a conflict, pause before you respond. Count up to five. Take a few breaths, because this pause helps to prevent emotional outbursts and it lets you respond thoughtfully. So many of us, we work, and today much of our work is done on computers and we deal with emails. Very often you'll get a very nasty email from somebody, and the tendency is to immediately respond to that person. Krishna Bhagwan is saying, don't react immediately. Read the email that you got. Go wake up and go away, do something else. Take a few minutes, pause. Then, when you come back and you respond, you will be able to deal with that situation instead of making it go out of control. Then, we must focus on our control. As I said, see, I can't control what others are saying about me, but I can control how I react to what those people are saying. That's the problem with human beings. We want to go and fight with people who are saying things about us, who are doing things against us. What is it doing? It's agitating us itself. I cannot control what somebody else is saying, but I can control how I'm going to react to that. So I must choose to maintain peace by not engaging in gossip, blame, or anger. We must practice compassion and patience, as I said. Right. So these are some of the ways in which we can, uh, what you call, deal with or become these kinds of things that Bhagwan is mentioning over here. Acha, let's go to the next verse number 16. Anapekshah Shrutir Daksha Udasino Gatavyatah Sarvarambha Parityagi Yo Mad Bhaktah Same Priyaha. I'm going to read it again. Anapekshah Shrutir Daksha, sorry. Anapekshah Shuchir Daksha Udasino Gatavyataha Sarvarambha Parityagi Yo Mad Bhaktaha Same Priyaha. So, Anapeksha means indifferent to worldly gain. Anapeksha means being indifferent to gain things that you gain in this world. Shuchihi means pure. Dakshaha means to be skillful. Udasinaha means without care. Gata vyataha means untroubled. And sarva arambha of all undertakings. Parityagi means renouncer. Mad bhakta means my devotees. Priya means very dear. So, Bhagwan is continuing to talk about the qualities of a devotee, of a bhakta. Free from expectations, pure, skillful, indifferent to praise and blame, without worry, and giving up attachment to all undertakings, such a devotee of mine is dear to me. So that's what this verse 16 is saying. So the verse is describing the inner qualities of a true devotee of Bhagwan. And this is not just a spiritual ideal, it is a practical guide on how to be a good person. It teaches us how to be grounded not only in our outward actions, but also in our minds and in our hearts. So, what are the qualities? He says, pure. The devotee must be pure. So, it means that we must be clean in body and mind. A person who takes care of his health and hygiene, but also clears out any negative thoughts, or rather, will also clear out negative thoughts such as anger and jealousy. So it's not just about physical purity that Bhagwan is talking here, he's also talking about negative thoughts. So, excuse me, the inner purity, the purity that we have in our minds, that we have in our hearts, is going to help us to think clearly and to act wisely. Remember in the previous verse, he said, you must act wisely. How are you going to do that? By having a pure mind and a heart. So, for example, a teacher who is calm and who is kind towards her students, what does this do? It creates a positive environment for the children. Why? Because the teacher's calmness and the teacher's kindness allows them to be free of bitterness. So the calmness of the teacher and the kindness of the teacher means that the teacher is mentally peaceful and he or she is free from bitterness, but you can see how that transfers into the environment in which the teacher is using. So the children too are then being pushed towards being free from any kind of bitterness. Bhagwan says you must be competent, must be skillful and alert. So a devotee, a bhakta of Bhagwan, is always ready to practice what is right. You know, I once read something which I found very profound. It says, wrong is wrong, even if the whole world is doing it. Right is right, even if no one is doing it. So I'm going to repeat that. Wrong is wrong, even if the whole world is doing it. Right is right, even if no one is doing it. So a true devotee will always practice what is right, irrespective as to what is happening around them. So whether it is in our spiritual rituals, whether it is in helping others, or whether it is simply about staying focused on my duties without getting lazy or distracted, I always practice what is right. Then he says that the devotee should be fearless. They should not be anxious. So a person who is, if the devotion is strong, if the bhakti that we have within us is strong, then we will trust that everything will be all right and we will not have fear or worry. See, when we do wrong is when fear sets in. When we are mentally weak is when fear sets in. And this happens so often in prayer. So people want to know, my father-in-law passed away 3 months ago. Can I light camphor? My mother-in-law passed away 5 months ago. Can I go for Aman prayers? That's a weak mind. That person is not strong in the devotion. You are allowing yourself to be controlled by fear. What you are not, it's not like we are asking you to go to a disco. We are saying asking you to engage in prayer. So why can't you engage in prayer even though somebody passed away 3 months ago? So if our devotion to God is strong, then I will trust that what I'm doing is right. And I will not allow fear to control me. We must not do puja out of fear, because anything that is done out of fear means there's no love in it. We have to show selfless courage and trust in what we're doing. You know, the firefighter, if he doesn't have courage, if he doesn't have trust in what he's doing, he won't rush into danger to save people's lives. He too will go to Facebook and he'll ask, you think I should go into this building and save people's lives? Because he's under control of fear. So don't allow ourselves to be filled with fear. We must be fearless. We must be selfless. We must act without praise, expecting praise or reward. What must the motivation be? It must simply to do what is right. Right? So if I'm cleaning up a park, if I'm cleaning the park near my house, I must do it not because I want people to come and clap for me, to applaud me. I must do it because I care. Because I care about the environment and I care about the future generations that are going to use that park. So let me tell you a little story quickly. A man once asked how it was possible to live a truly good life while remaining in the midst of work, family, and worldly duties. The answer that he was given was very simple. It said that goodness does not require leaving the world behind. If the heart is filled with compassion and a person's work is done for the welfare of others, what uh, Bhagavad Gita refers to as Loka Sangraha, without seeking recognition, then every action, whether I'm teaching a child in school, whether the doctor is tending to a patient at the surgery, or whether a mother is cooking a meal, all these things become an offering. Then that same man was told that knowledge alone is not enough. So what does that mean? See, there are many among us who read endlessly. They are widely read, but their heart remains untouched. They are similar to birds that are flying high, but they are always circling barren ground where they'll get nothing. So real wisdom shines when knowledge is used to lift others up. So you can read as much as you want. How are you using what you are reading, what you are learning, to lift other people's lives up? So a lawyer, for example, who defends the poor, a merchant, a businessman who deals fairly, a neighbor who quietly helps in times of need, all reveal the truth that compassion is the highest form of understanding. This man then still wondered. He said, why is it that some people seem to shine more brightly than others? And the reply he got was, the same divine light is in everyone, but it shows itself in different ways. So somebody may express it through music, somebody else may do it through teaching, and yet somebody else may do it through the tenderness of caring for a child. However, what we need to understand, none is higher, no one is lower. They are all just different expressions of the same light. And finally, this man asked what the highest teaching was. And the answer that he got was, let go. Let go of clinging to possessions, clinging to praise, clinging to control. Live with your heart turned towards what is eternal. So even if somebody cannot read a sacred text, they too can still also grasp the essence if their heart is sincere. Because what matters is not words on a page, the spirit of love and the surrender that flows through life. So, if we follow these practical steps that Bhagwan is giving us here, if we understand the deeper spiritual teachings behind what Bhagwan is saying here, then we all can live a life of true devotion. Whether I'm a sannyasi, whether I'm a scholar, or whether I am an everyday person, this path is open for all of us to cultivate purity, to become competent, to become courageous, and to become selfless. So here we're going to end, and tomorrow you will hear the end of this chapter, and you will then look at a few more qualities of a true devotee. Now we're going to have bhajans and arti.
स्वागतं कृष्ण शरणागतं कृष्ण स्वागतं कृष्ण शरणागतं कृष्ण स्वागतं सुस्वागतं शरणागतं कृष्ण स्वागतं सुस्वागतं शरणागतं कृष्ण स्वागतं कृष्ण शरणागतं कृष्ण स्वागतं कृष्ण शरणागतं कृष्ण मधुरपुरी कृष्ण मधुसूदन कृष्ण मधुरपुरी कृष्ण मधुसूदन कृष्ण स्वागतं कृष्ण शरणागतं कृष्ण स्वागतं कृष्ण शरणागतं कृष्ण स्वागतं कृष्ण शरणागतं कृष्ण ओम कृष्ण कन्हैया लाल की जय।
कृष्ण जिनका नाम है, गोकुल जिनका धाम है, ऐसे श्री भगवान को, ऐसे श्री भगवान को बारंबार प्रणाम है, बारंबार प्रणाम है। कृष्ण जिनका नाम है, गोकुल जिनका धाम है, ऐसे श्री भगवान को, ऐसे श्री भगवान को बारंबार प्रणाम है, बारंबार प्रणाम है। यशोदा जिनकी मैया है, नंद जी बापैया है, यशोदा जिनकी मैया है, नंद जी बापैया है, ऐसे श्री गोपाल को, ऐसे श्री गोपाल को बारंबार प्रणाम है, बारंबार प्रणाम है। राधा जिनकी धारा है, अभ्युत जिनकी माया है, राधा जिनकी धारा है, अभ्युत जिनकी माया है, ऐसे श्री घनश्याम को, ऐसे श्री घनश्याम को बारंबार प्रणाम है, बारंबार प्रणाम है। लूट लूट दधी माखन खायो, ग्वाल बाल संग धेनु चरायो, लूट लूट दधी माखन खायो, ग्वाल बाल संग धेनु चरायो, ऐसे नीला धाम को, ऐसे नीला धाम को बारंबार प्रणाम है, बारंबार प्रणाम है। कृष्ण जिनका नाम है, गोकुल जिनका धाम है, ऐसे श्री भगवान को, ऐसे श्री भगवान को बारंबार प्रणाम है, बारंबार प्रणाम है, बारंबार प्रणाम है, बारंबार प्रणाम है, बारंबार प्रणाम आरती कुंज बिहारी की, श्री गिरिधर कृष्ण मुरारी की। आरती कुंज बिहारी की, श्री गिरिधर कृष्ण मुरारी की। आरती कुंज बिहारी की, श्री गिरिधर कृष्ण मुरारी की। आरती कुंज बिहारी की, श्री गिरिधर कृष्ण मुरारी की। गले में बैजंती माला, बजावे मुरली मधुर वाला, श्रवण में कुंडल जलतारा, नंद के आनंद नंद लाला। गगन समयंग कांतिकारी, राधिका चमक रही यारी। लतन में तारे बनमाली, भ्रमर सी अलग, कस्तूरी तिलक, चंद्र सी झलक, ललित छवि श्यामा प्यारी की, श्री गिरिधर कृष्ण मुरारी की। आरती कुंज बिहारी की, श्री गिरिधर कृष्ण मुरारी की। आरती कुंज बिहारी की, श्री गिरिधर कृष्ण मुरारी की। कनकमय मोर मुकुट बिलसे, देवता दर्शन को तरसे। गगन सो सुमन राशि बरसे, बजे मूर्छंग मधुर मृदंग। ग्वाली न संग अतुल रति गोप कुमारी की, श्री गिरिधर कृष्ण मुरारी की। आरती कुंज बिहारी की, श्री गिरिधर कृष्ण मुरारी की। आरती कुंज बिहारी की, श्री गिरिधर कृष्ण मुरारी की। जहाँ ते प्रगति भई गंगा, कलुष कलिहारिणी गंगा। स्मरण ते होत मोह भंगा, बसी शिव शिष जटा के बीच। हरय अगतिच चरण छवि बनवारी की, श्री गिरिधर कृष्ण मुरारी की। आरती कुंज बिहारी की, श्री गिरिधर कृष्ण मुरारी की। आरती कुंज बिहारी की, श्री गिरिधर कृष्ण मुरारी की। चमकती उज्ज्वल चचरेणु, बज रही वृंदावन वेणु। चमुदिसी गोपी ग्वाल धेनु, हसत मृदु मंद चांदनी चंद। कटत भव फंद, तेर सुन दीन दुखारी की, श्री गिरिधर कृष्ण मुरारी की। आरती कुंज बिहारी की, श्री गिरिधर कृष्ण मुरारी की। आरती कुंज बिहारी की, श्री गिरिधर कृष्ण मुरारी की। आरती कुंज बिहारी की, श्री गिरिधर कृष्ण मुरारी की। आरती कुंज बिहारी की, श्री गिरिधर कृष्ण मुरारी की। आरती कुंज बिहारी की, श्री गिरिधर कृष्ण मुरारी की।
कर्पूरगौरं करुणावतारं संसारसारं भुजगेन्द्रहारं सदा वसन्तं हृदयारविन्दे भवं भवानी सहितं नमामि। मङ्गलं भगवान् विष्णु मङ्गलं गरुडध्वज मङ्गलं पुण्डरीकाक्ष मङ्गलाय तनोहरि। सर्वमङ्गलमाङ्गल्ये शिवे सर्वार्थसाधिके शरण्ये त्र्यम्बके गौरी नारायणी नमोऽस्तुते। नारायणी नमोऽस्तुते। नारायणी नमोऽस्तुते। ॐ यानि कानि च पापानि जन्मान्तरकृतानि च तानि तानि विनश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिणा पदे पदे। ॐ सर्वेषां स्वस्तिर्भवतु सर्वेषां शान्तिर्भवतु सर्वेषां पूर्णं भवतु सर्वेषां मङ्गलं भवतु। सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामया, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। ओम असतो मा सतगमय, तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय, मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय। ओम पूर्णमिदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते, पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम अपराध सहस्राणि क्रियन्ते हर्निशं मया, दासोऽयम् इति मामत्व क्षमस्व परमेश्वर। आवाहनं न जानामि, न जानामि विसर्जनं, पूजां चैव न जानामि, क्षमस्व परमेश्वर। अन्यथा शरणं नास्ति, त्वम् एव शरणं मम, तस्मात् कारुण्यभावेन रक्षत्वं परमेश्वर। बोलिए विघ्न हरता गणेश भगवान की जय। श्री राधे कृष्ण भगवान की जय। श्री शिव शंकर भगवान पार्वती माता की जय। श्री सीताराम चंद्र भगवान की जय। श्री लक्ष्मण जी की जय। श्री बजरंग बली महावीर स्वामी की जय। जग जगनी गौरी दुर्गा काली लक्ष्मी सरस्वती माता की जय। श्री लक्ष्मी नारायण भगवान की जय। सनातन धर्म की जय। सब पितर देव की जय। ओम नमः पार्वती पतये, हर हर महादेव हर। जय जय श्री राधे, जय जय श्री राधे, जय जय श्री राधे श्याम। जय सिया राम। धन्यवाद।